On the leaderboards. And again, we are here to talk about the whole idea of new year, new me. So, kind of teased this in the beginning, but wanted to talk a little bit deeper about what it means to really achieve new goals in a new year, right? And the big thing to talk about here is the difference between, Tom, what are the two words? Goals and
Commitment.
commitments. Love it, love it. Because we all know, right, or we have a vision of where we want to be. We all have this idea of where we want to get to, whether that goal is financial, whether it's personal, whether it's a time-based goal, anything like that. We all have something that we're working towards. That's why we are here, of course. But goals are only as good as the commitments that support them. Okay. Goals don't achieve themselves. Goals are the destination, commitments are the journey. They're the gas in the tank, they're the tires, they're the footsteps that get you from point A to point B to point C to point D, right? So, when it comes to making new commitments, what are the things that we can do that will naturally help us be more successful in those, or excuse me, in creating the habits that are going to get us those goals? And we talked a little bit about one of them earlier is this idea of temporal boundaries. Now, think about this for a second. What is the impact of saying start something new on January 1st versus start something new on New Year's Day? Or if I said to you, Bridget, I'm going to shoot you a reminder on the first day of spring about this new goal, or Bridget, I'm going to shoot you a reminder on March 20th, right? Attaching a significance to a day that we start something new helps us create the idea in our minds of a fresh start. It creates a temporal boundary in our mind that allows us to separate ourselves mentally from the habit we want to break into the habit that we want to achieve. But there's a catch. Who here has ever quit on a New Year's resolution within a month? 2 months? I'm going to say within 3 months, and I better see everybody's hands up, right? We've all done it, right? I am just as guilty as everyone else here. And what I realized, kind of through some of the things I've been reading and listening to lately, is that one of the big reasons that we fail at our goals is we fail to create the proper motivations for ourselves. See, a lot of us think, and I'm definitely guilty of this, that simple willpower is going to be enough to allow us to break one habit and replace it with another, right? And the fact of the matter is, willpower is a tank that you can drain just like anything else, okay? And every time you step yourself away from temptation, you take a little bit out of that willpower tank until you have nothing left anymore and the next temptation overcomes you, okay? What are some of the temptations we face? Well, for me, it's sitting on the couch versus going to the gym. I love sitting on the couch. I hate going to the gym. So it's very easy for me to succumb to that temptation. Maybe it is scrolling through Facebook rather than dialing. I'm guilty of that one too. Maybe it's waiting until the top of the hour to start dialing because I want to start something at 3 o'clock and not 2:58. But then, oh no, it's 3:01. Now I have to wait till 4, right? Some of these temptations are just so ingrained in us that they're hard to overcome. So, what, obviously the best solution to that would be to remove the temptation, right? In a perfect world, if I wanted to make sure I go to the gym every day, I would build a gym that I literally step into the moment I get out of my bed, right, in the morning, because then I've removed the blocks, I've removed the temptation to crawl back in, I'm just there. But we know that that's not realistic. So, what's the second best thing that we can do? And one of the techniques I heard about this recently that really just stuck with me is this notion of temptation bundling. Okay. Temptation bundling. And temptation bundling says that we connect a strong temptation to a desired new habit. Now, this is not, I want to make very clear, action and reward. This is not if I dial for 2 hours, then I can go do this. No, the two behaviors have to be concurrent. So, thinking about new habits, for one of the things I heard this morning that really stuck to me was the idea of audiobooks, right? I'm an audiobook junkie. I'll listen to them all day long. And I hate going to the gym. So what if I tie that temptation to put an audiobook on to go into the gym and I say I can only listen to this while I'm exercising? In fact, in the podcast I was listening to, they did this exact thing in a study, and they locked people's iPods in the gym, and they only got access to it while they were exercising. You know what? Those people exercised a total of 56% more than the control group because the temptation to hear the next part of the story was so powerful it got them up and out of the house and onto the gym. So I realize this is just one example, and I can't speak to what your temptations are, but I encourage you to start thinking about kind of as you look at these new habits that you want to instill in yourself for either personal reasons, business reasons, whatever they may be, as we go into this new year, start thinking about this idea of what are the positive, kind of rewarding behaviors that I can start to associate with things that I really, really don't want to do, things that I avoid, right? Maybe it's listening to music while you go through and plug in your numbers. Maybe it's what was the other great one? But anyways, I won't go into that. Kind of getting off track of where I wanted to take this call. So um, that's kind of the I guess advice piece of the call today. But what I wanted to do now is just open this up to literally any single one of you who feels the urge to speak up and talk about, first of all, what your year has been like, what's been positive, maybe what's been some negatives that you'd like to overcome in the next year. But then also, what are you looking to do? What are the changes you're looking to make? And what are the action steps that are going to help you achieve this change? Because when I sit back and reflect on my year and the year we've had here, it's been a whirlwind for Paige and I, to be certain. But I think the one phrase that I would tie to our year of 2024 would be, well, that didn't go as planned. And that could basically go across the board. And we faced a lot of new challenges, right? Becoming parents, owning a house for the first time, that's an absolute just whole other basket of worms. And so there were a lot of things that we weren't prepared for that we had to adapt to throughout the course of the year. And so if I look at 2024 as the year that did not go as planned, then 2025 needs to be the year that we are more intentional about our planning. And so, what can I do in that regard? Well, number one is schedule for me. And Paige and I were talking about this yesterday, and we started to realize, it's not just enough to put things on a shared calendar so that we know what each other's doing. We now have a 1 year old who walks around and pulls things off shelves and can't be just, kind of set in a bouncy seat and hang out there for an hour or two. So we have to be a lot more intentional about who is with the baby and who is working throughout the course of the day. So what does that look like? Well, it means now we're scheduling the hours in the day in which either one of us is available to work. And we're going to hold each other accountable to that. Meaning that if I am in my work schedule, she is on baby duty, and vice versa. If she is in her work period of her schedule, then I am on baby duty. And anything else that I do during that time is secondary to making sure that all of his needs are taken care of so that she doesn't have to worry about that. Now, that's the plan that we're making. That's the commitment we're making, knowing that by really locking this schedule down more intentionally, we're going to be able to better manage our time and better manage our efficiency. So, that right here in front of everybody on this call, you just heard me say it. My commitment for the year to come is to be, my goal for the year to come is to be better about schedule. My commitment is to work hand in hand with Paige throughout that to make sure that we're supporting each other in those work times versus in those parent times. So, with that, I want to open this call up. Anybody else who'd like to talk kind of about their year, about what they're looking forward to? Love to hear from you.
Okay, I never talk. I rarely ever talk. But I'm going to say something because there is something that changed hugely when I became a parent and like with New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. Obviously, like you just said, that doesn't go as planned. That happens all the time in parenthood, in owning a business, in everything that we do here. And I'm shaking. I'm not used to this. So with that, when I became a parent, I started going from specific goals to words of the year and doing everything and that I can to commit to that word of the year. So last year, my word of the year was pink. And if any moms have ever heard this about getting your pink back, it takes 2 years after having a baby for everything to go back to normal. Your hormones, your body, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to do everything you can, just like a flamingo. It takes 2 years for a flamingo to turn back pink after they've had a little one. And so I did everything in my power with every decision that I made. Is this going to help me get my pink back this year? Okay, so that was my word of the year last year, whether it was a business decision, a life decision. Obviously, we moved states. We had a lot of big things happen last year. My husband lost 2 jobs. Like, it was crazy. Okay, but if I made a decision, it was based on that. And this year, I'm committing to the word authenticity. I really want to do everything in my power to make every decision to be authentically me. A lot of times I tend to change myself for the person that I'm around and to, cater to that person. And I'm committing to not doing that anymore. So whether it is business related, whether it is, personal related, I want to encourage you guys to, also set goals, also do that because that is very, very necessary in this business to set a specific goal by a specific date. But if you're a little discouraged where you're at right now, just choose a word. Choose a word and start making those baby steps because ultimately that will get you to where you want to go and make sure it's in a direction that is authentically you and something that you want to do. But a baby win towards a word might be lead towards a bigger win towards your business, towards anything else in your life. So that's what I'm committing to, the word authenticity this year, and I hope that helps somebody.
That was awesome, Crystal. Mic drop on that. I don't even know why people are putting up their hands. I would hate to have to follow Crystal on that one. But no, Crystal, that's amazing. And thank you so much for sharing. Love the idea of finding that one central goal, that one central value, right? And tying all your decisions to, does this move me forward? Right? Does this move me forward? Does this move me backwards? And making your decisions based on that. I absolutely love it. So thank you very, very much for sharing that perspective. All right, Bridget, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Again, I will piggyback off of that, Hunter, and for you, Crystal, how this is why I love these calls. It's, all these different perspectives, things that we can all pull like, yep, that makes sense. What you talked about there, Crystal, was so simple to do, simple not to do, right? And it's an easy way to kind of check ourselves when we're in the day to day. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I've got this. It just, hey, what's your word? Is this moving me? But what does that word mean? What do you associate it with? That's the best way to stop your roll in the wrong direction, right? From going down oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. So great job. Loved hearing from you. You've been, by our side on this journey, for as long as I can remember. You came in pretty early on. So I love that. I love that for you. I love that for everybody that heard that and could just start small. I think what happens, what Hunter was talking about, and I'll be brief to respect everybody's time, but so many times too with goals, with New Year's, commitments, goals, whatever that is, we make them so broad and so sweeping that we almost have no chance of doing those things. And then what happens? We fail ourselves. We don't feel great about it. So I would urge you, 2 questions you asked, Hunter, about 2024. Isn't it funny how different perspectives are based on where you are in life? I knew what was coming when Brooke started walking. Been there, done that. You're like, oh, wait a minute. So I love you guys are such a great team. But for me, where I was in my life, in the past year was, planning my daughter's wedding at a non-venue. And this might seem, but to all of our journeys are different. So for me, 2024 was what's really possible within this opportunity. I was able to be there, plan, do, meet, not worry about a boss, not worrying about, did I just burn up all my personal days? All of that. Now, the schedule piece center, that's for all of us, period. It's knowing what you're doing and just doing it then. But for me, 2024 was possible. 2025 is going to be refining and redefining my systems so they're transferable. That I can, people can take that. Here's what you do here. and not have to, try to duplicate myself, and spend hours and hours, talking about the same things. So for me, those are two things, what was possible this year and refining and redefining my processes. And that's for me, and just understanding what this opportunity really is, especially when things are challenging, especially if you're new and in a learning curve. So if you don't know what your next steps are, what kind of goals should I be setting? I'm new, I'm here 6 weeks, I'm here 6 months. That's when you reach out to your upline and say, okay, I don't even know what I'm supposed to focus on. I'm doing sales, I'm getting better at the scripts. That's when you reach out and say, hey, what realistically is a good goal for somebody here in this position here this amount of time. So that's what I would say to anybody newer on the call. So I love this topic.
Awesome, awesome, Bridget. There is so much to unpack. I think we could do an entire call on each of those points that you brought up there. But I do want to throw a quick exclamation point on something Bridget said, because I think it really, really pertains to what's going on. And that is start small, right? Start small. The purpose of goals, the purpose of commitments isn't simply to achieve that goal, but to create a habit around achieving goals, right? That's why we have the accountability call. That's why, so start small, prove to yourself, prove to everybody around you that you are the person who sticks to those commitments to achieve those goals, and watch how those goals just naturally grow, snowball, get bigger and bigger down the way. So loved all of that, Bridget. Thank you so, so much. All right, Ibel.
I am first and foremost so excited you picked this topic for today, because today is actually a kind of a special day for myself. So for those of you that have known me for a while, follow me on social media, I've been doing 10,000 steps a day for a long time. And today, when I finish them, I've already done an hour on the treadmill, is day 600, which is I'm so excited for. I was like, I realized it when I was like getting close in December. I was like, it's gonna be not quite the last day. I was really hoping it would be December 31st, but it's December 30th. Um, and the reason I started doing that is because I wanted to get in better shape. And a challenge was thrown out by someone on the our master agency before our conference, not this year, but the year before. And it was 90 days, doing 10,000 steps a day. And I was like, great, I need the accountability. I need someone holding that stick over my head. Carrot's not good enough. I need the stick. I need you need to do this. But there was a carrot too. There was a prize at the end for everyone who did it every single day. You had to post a picture, you had to prove it. And it was something that got me into the habit. So if you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do something like that, get someone to have a stick and a carrot to like help you with it. Whether it's your upline, your partner or spouse or something like that. Super, super awesome. And then I just kind of kept going with it because I built up the habit, because it takes like 21 days or 50 days. I don't know. There's a bunch of different theories about how many days it takes to build a habit, but now it's just something I don't go and not do. Sometimes my steps are, skiing like I did yesterday. Sometimes it's a lot of running around my house cleaning and doing lots of scrubbing. So I get them all on my arm, but I try to make sure they're legitimate steps every day. But my word of the year, kind of piggyback off what Crystal said, is I really think going to be balance, because that's helped me kind of set a goal in my personal life. And I love what Hunter said also about, finding that schedule balance. Because, when you have a 1-year-old, it has to have all your attention, because it's going to, Brooks is going to get into something you don't want him to get into. So, treating your business like that 1-year-old you have to take care of and you have to pay attention to all the time during certain hours of the day. When Brooks is sleeping, you don't have to pay attention because he's asleep. You could do other things. You can get the laundry done, do the errands, whatever. But really treating it that way. Because I didn't necessarily do that last year. It did not go as planned. Plus, a lot of things kind of threw a wrench in the works, and then I could not pay attention to the business. My husband did not one but two hospital stays. Thankfully, he's okay. But I was able to take time away because we can do that. But I'm looking forward to balancing this year, really finding the personal life balance, that time that I need to spend on away from the business, and putting that in my schedule, but also spending time on the business when you're supposed to be. So not doing well, I only have 15 minutes and I think that's going to take half an hour, so I'm going to wait to start that thing. Just go ahead and get a few minutes on it, and do the thing that you need to do, whether you have to stop in the middle, go do the other thing that you need to do, and then come back to it later, you made progress. So just keeping things moving forward is really going to be my goal. I know it was kind of all over the place, but just really just kind of finding that balance and just one little step forward every day, or 10,000.
No, that's awesome, Abel. Thank you so much. And yes, one, congratulations on 600 steps. That's or 600 days of 10,000 steps, I should say. That's an amazing feeling. And yeah, you've given yourself a brand new habit that you're probably not going to break going forward, I would imagine, right? Going to keep crushing that. So love hearing you talk about balance too. It is so important. And one of the things that I think we often find about balance is when we're striving for it, we tend to seesaw or overcorrect in the wrong direction several times before we do find that middle road, right? So we're working too much and we need more leisure time. Now all of a sudden we find, wow, I've been spending way too much time on leisure. Now I need to go back to work, and we kind of do this and eventually we find that middle road, right? So, balance is that's a great word for the year, because, and I think it's a great word for honestly every year, because each year is going to bring new challenges, new, things into life that are really going to force you to reevaluate. But I love it, Ibble. It's amazing. All right. Well, I know that I want to kick this over to Tom to close it down here in a minute, but I just wanted to check. John, I think I saw your hand go up earlier. Was that an I wanted to talk, or uh, John, something audio wise, man? I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, the mic is probably off.
Okay.
Still the same thing.
Too good, so I was trying to clear it off.
Oh, got you there. Now we can hear you. Okay, cool. I just didn't want, if you wanted to share, I didn't want to jump over you, but
Thank you.
awesome. All right, then. Well, if we are at that point, everybody, thank you all for being here. This is the last you're going to hear from me, but I do want to kick it down to our closer extraordinaire for the final putt of 2024. You like that, Tom? Yeah, I got that in there.
Yeah, and somehow this is not a 3-footer knock in tap in either, right? My Hunter, the my word of the year was becoming, and it was perfect because I had to become a better version of myself. I had to become a better leader, better mentor, better dad, better just a better friend too. And I think about this, right? Just in summary, right? The back half of this year, at least last 90 days, has been super tough. And you know what I say to that? Good. It means we weren't ready for the next situation, and now we can handle it. We can handle it better. I wasn't ready. Maybe we weren't ready. Been held up in this cell block 105 forever, it seems. Good. Meant we had to find a way to level up the self-development, and thank God, because I'm a better human for that. Staying consistent week to week and yet feeling like it's not enough. Good. meant we had to find a different way. We're ready to explode. We're getting there. We just weren't ready. We lost a 130 in our organization in 2024. Finally, I can say good, because we found another 130 in Carl Lincoln Arms and moving forward in this with massive confidence. It's all about how you frame what happens. The word of the year this year for me is invigorate, and it's grow your best you 1% every day. So to spark transformation and strength by energizing those lives we all touch each and every day. It's not all just about us. It's about how can you take that and touch somebody and invigorate somebody else every single day. There's a reason we're fired up in this agency, and we're going to light it up with some more invigorate this year. And I'm going to start drinking the invigorate, so to speak, Hunter. So with that, you guys, when you have, I know, Paige, you're welcome on that one. But when you guys have something that doesn't go right, just say good. reframe your mind, move forward. It is something happened for a reason, and the change will make you better and make you ready for it. So with that said, let's go have just an amazingly good day. And if something does happen, good. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I love that, Tom. An amazing topic. Hunter, thank you for those that shared. And I just wanted to add in real quick, if you haven't taken the time to do this, if you haven't taken the time to think about what your intentions are for 2025, just take a second to do it. Like touching on what Ibel was saying, may feel like it's going to take a long time to have a plan in place, but it could just be 15 minutes that you just think about, what do I want this year to look like? How do I want to show up? What do I want to be? How do I want to be there? What do I want to say this time next year that I'm proud of for showing up and doing? Make that promise to yourself. So excellent call, you guys. Excellent.